So the first little, I don't even know that I'd call this a tutorial, but I just wanted to just whiz around a few yarns that I think would be really good if you are, you know, an experienced knitter, or more so if you are a new knitter. So I've just pulled out a variety of yarns that are some of my favourites. I've knit with all of these yarns, and I know that you know, that they'd be excellent for new knitters and, like I say, for experienced alike. So I'm going to start with a little group. Now these ones are non-superwash yarns. So basically there's two different types of yarn. You will usually see on your ball band, it will say whether it's superwash or non-superwash. Non-superwash means that it's hand wash only, and it hasn't been treated in any way to make it be a superwash yarn, basically. So that means that if you did happen to put this in the washing machine, it would more than likely felt. It would create a felted material, so you do want to hand wash these. We then move over to some, this is hand dyed and this is superwash yarn. I'll go into these in a bit more detail shortly, but these are superwash yarns. So basically superwash means it's been treated in a way that allows it to be washed in a washing machine without it felting. So these ones are superwash, and likewise these ones are superwash too. We then move over to some sock yarns, and again these are all superwash, but these ones I would use specifically for socks. So going back to the non-superwash yarns, these are some of my favourites. This is, I mean, everybody will be able to get this yarn. It's very widely available and it's an excellent yarn for all kinds of projects. And it's Cascade 220, the standard one, not the superwash. And this is 100% Peruvian Highland wool. It comes in a huge array of colours, and it's really reasonably priced, and it's just really excellent to knit with. Brilliant for jumpers. It isn't scratchy in any way. Brilliant for jumpers, and then also for accessories, hats, gloves, you know, anything like that is excellent. Moving on to this one is one of my all-time favourites, and it's Malabrigo worsted. This one is a single ply yarn. If you can see the difference between, this is basically just one ply of spun yarn, and this one is 2 plies. I think it's 2 plies actually, or 3. It's either maybe 3 that have been spun together. So this one is called a plied yarn, and this one is called singles, as we say. So Malabrigo worsted, again it's non-superwash, super really beautifully soft, and comes in a really fabulous array of colours. It's kettle dyed in Uruguay. So I absolutely love Malabrigo worsted. And then this one is Quince & Company Lark, again non-superwash. Now this one in the UK, as far as I'm aware, you can only get it in Loop in London. They do have an online store, but that, as far as I know, if anybody knows where you can get it anywhere else in the UK, please let me know. But as far as I'm aware, you can only get it in Loop in London. And this is a worsted weight. All of these are worsted weight yarns. And again, there's a beautiful colour palette for these. It's fabulous to knit with, and just a super yarn. None of these are expensive. I would class all these as like a mid-range, fairly inexpensive, but well worth the money. Okay, let's pop this to one side. Now these ones are all superwash yarns. So you can throw these into the washing machine and they'll behave very well. So the first one, Cascade yarns again, but this is the superwash version of the one that we've just looked at. Very widely available in the UK and also in the US, and I would have thought around the world really. So again, it comes in a huge range of colours. Literally, I think there's a couple of hundred different colours. Fabulous to knit with. It's brilliant for toys, but also for, you know, any knitting, I would say. You could use this. Blankets, absolutely fabulous for blankets because of the vast amount of colours. So fantastic yarn. This one is a UK yarn, and this is King Cole Merino Blend DK. King Cole have been around for years and years and years in the UK. My mum used to knit with King Cole and still does. But this one again it's kind of on a par with the Cascade, I would say. It's slightly lighter because it is a DK. But again, it comes in a lovely range of colours. It's superwash and very widely available. So that's an excellent yarn. And then the last one, it's another King Cole one, but this one is bamboo cotton. And I chose this one because I know a lot of people are sensitive to wool. And of course you can use acrylic. I tend not to knit with acrylic, that's just a personal choice. And I think the whole knitting experience is more pleasurable when you're actually knitting with wool. But, you know, like I say, that is a personal opinion. But this one, King Cole Bamboo Cotton, is what it says. It's 50-50 bamboo and cotton. And I've knit several things with this. I've done a huge blanket for Bryony. I've just done a baby blanket with it. It's excellent for baby clothes in particular, I think, because of the fact that there's, you know, it's so soft and lovely. Machine washable and, you know, excellent really for an array of projects. So that's those ones. We then move into the field of hand-dyed yarn. Now this is, you know, you could go on forever showing different manufacturers of hand-dyed yarn, but I'm just going to show you a couple that I've pulled out of my stash. This one, incredibly popular yarn, it's Madeline Tosh DK. And this is now available online in the UK in a couple of places, Loop in London, and I believe it's Meadow Yarns. I'll have to double check that, Dan. But this one, these are all hand dyed, so the colours will vary slightly from skein to skein, and you do, if you're knitting a garment, you do tend to have to alternate your skeins. But, you know, for projects such as hats, gloves, cowls, just really excellent yarn. It behaves incredibly well and it's beautiful to knit with. This one is one that was gifted to me actually. Sock Bunny Studios. This is an independent dyer. Don't think she's dyeing at the moment actually. She does a podcast. But this one is a DK weight. And the beauty with, you know, we all like to support independent dyers, but you do get a particular colour palette from different dyers. I think they all kind of vary. This one's particularly beautiful, that pink, I think. So again, they're both superwash. Yes, I had to double check that, they are both superwash. And then I just pulled out a few skeins just to show you the sort of thing that I would knit socks with. So if you were starting to knit socks and you'd never knit socks before in your life, I would recommend something like this one. This is West Yorkshire Spinners Air Valley Aran. So it's a heavier weight yarn. They will go much quicker and you will learn all the techniques and yet still have a sock in a relatively short amount of time. Now this one is 75-25 wool and nylon. I would always recommend that you have a certain percentage of nylon in your sock yarn, because it's just purely for the hardwariness. That's not a word, but you know what I mean. So that's an Aran one. And then two fingering weight versions. Traditionally socks are knit with a fingering weight yarn so that you get that fine fabric, fine textured fabric. This one is kind of, I suppose you call it a workhorse yarn, but it's, you know, it's fantastic to knit with, and it's opal, and everybody will know opal, I'm sure. They do ranges of colours. This one's from the Sweet and Spicy 2 collection. I think it's watermelon by the looks of that picture. And it's fabulous to knit with. It's really nice. Hard. It feels like it's going to wear really well, yet it's really beautiful to knit with still. So fantastic sock yarn. And then again, moving into the hand-dyed category. This is from a fantastic dyer here in the UK. It's Fondant Fibre. This is hand-dyed, and this one is usually, when it's a hand-dyed sock yarn, you'll find the blend is something like an 80-20 or 80-10-10 as we call it, which means it's usually 80% superwash merino or BFL. I love BFL for socks. And this has got 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. And then it just shows you the colourway name there. So all of these are fantastic for socks, but I would always recommend, you know, when you're doing a you know, first time sock knitter, that you do start with a heavier weight, like the West Yorkshire spinners. And that's a little whiz round the yarns that I particularly love.